All right, so we have public input and I don't see any public yet. We had somebody last week, but they're not here now, so too late. And all correspondence has to do with our projects, so we'll wait on that until it's time to get reports from our teams. So we have approval of meeting minutes from our regular meeting of November 24. I'll make a motion that we approve those meeting minutes from our regular meeting of November 24, 2020.
Second it.
Second, somebody second, who said it? I don't know who.
I did, Roy.
Roy did. I think Gil was getting ready too. Any comments or questions, changes in the minutes? Everybody had to go through them. I think they're good. All right, so we'll vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody's good. And just let me know if you, I can see you all. So if anybody opposes, you can jump up and down. And then we have one more business, a little bit of business to do before we get into our projects. Kathy had attached also the 2021 meeting schedule. So we have to approve that before the end of January, but we might as well do it now. It's pretty much two meetings, the same 2 meetings a month schedule. We don't have to cancel any because of holidays, it looks like. So I'll make a motion that we approve the 2021 meeting schedule as submitted along with the documents. Gil seconds. And just to remind you that years ago, we met once a month. And when we started having projects that needed our immediate attention, rather than calling special meetings all the time, we went to the twice a month schedule. So we'll stick with that because we're still going to have some stuff coming up throughout at least the year, the first half of the year, if not more. If we have meetings that aren't necessary, it's a lot easier to cancel meetings than to call special meetings. So we'll stick with this meeting schedule. Does anybody have any comments on it or questions about it? You should be good. So all in favor?
Aye.
Everybody's good and nobody opposed. So that, Kathy, you can get that to Lisa. The other thing that I know both Kathy and John Menti always try to do is the election of officers. But if people have to be reappointed, because some people's terms may be up and the Board of Selectmen may have to reappoint them, we should do that first and then do election of officers. So hopefully no one's gonna leave us. Board of Selectmen usually does that at the beginning of January, or at least by the end of January. So then we'll take care of that in January. All righty, so moving into our agenda for our school projects. And Geraldine did send out an updated construction report from Rizzo. And we can get started on that first.
Okay, are you gonna put it on the screen, Geraldine, or no?
Yeah, she's working on it.
Hang on.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't happen
Your screen.
magically. Well, it does happen magically.
It does.
Thank you.
Okay, Johnson first. The work from the last period was the wood floor is ongoing. The amphitheater was finished up, the concrete work yesterday, and playground drains and mulch are finished. Spray installation from last period was 50%. We'll talk about more in the work in progress. And the office was at 90%. So that brings us to the work in progress. The wood floors right now is just about done sanding them. I think he's got one more day and then he'll be putting the finishes on. So 75%, 80, somewhere in that neighborhood. The site work, they've prepped some of the access road and they're going to be paving some of it tomorrow morning. And We've got the prepping for the basketball court for the processed, but that's not quite ready for paving. Spray installation is 90%. They basically have the inaccessible, the wood ceilings have to be taken apart. We're gonna take some of the panels off tomorrow. It's the panels come down relatively easy, but it's just we got the administration office, stair one, and then at both levels of the building B by the electrical rooms, the existing building, there's some wood paneling ceiling at the exterior wall there. So they're gonna take out a couple panels so that we can have access to spray in there. And then that'll wrap up Johnson. They may have to still do that stair too. So they got probably 10%. It's pretty accurate left to do there. And so for the most part, progress is just the site work is just getting ready for the paving at Johnson. And he's got some curbs to put in, so he'll be working on that, and then I'll probably be all set for the paving in by the end of the week. Then after I guess after the floor is finished, next week we'll be putting in wall pads in the bleachers and finishing off the gym.
So Ken, do you think all the paving will be done at Johnson before plants shut down?
I don't think they're gonna finish the access road by the loading dock because they'll have to work on that field.
Yeah,
So-
right.
So that part won't be able to be done. And then, but they intend to get from the basketball court over to the behind the fifth grade addition. That's what they are planning on doing. So they did install the basketball poles. So the hoops will be installed shortly. I say the poles, but they're square. So when you see them, they're in. So I think that's it for Johnson.
Ken, can I ask a question? The part of the access road that's along the side on the field side. So are you saying that that's not going to be done until the spring after they do the field, after they have access to the field?
Yes, that's what I was told. And you know, they could, you know, because they're doing curb right there right now, and it's not ready for paving, and I don't. They never said that they were going to do it. So unless they make a quick change to do the binder, I would say no. But they're not planning on doing that.
Hey, Ken,
Yes.
question for you. Does Tom Galliford know that? Because without that road, we're not going to be able to get that machine that's behind me down there.
It's got processed and it is it's all built. It's definitely it's drivable.
All right.
Well, we haven't talked to Tom about, we'll do that. We'll show him that road and we'll get his input on that as to what condition it's to be left in.
But that probably has to be plowed during the winter, right? Right, Bob? Hey, Bob?
Yes, I couldn't get it off mute. Yes, correct. I'm going to have to keep that plowed.
Yeah, so that's going to be tough to do with process. or you're gonna have to make provisions. The other concern I have is that we constantly have that flooding problem on the lower fields because those catch basins are blocked up or, are not taking the water at this point. So I'd like to, see if you could address that too, so that it's not a constant problem below there.
Yeah, so I think there was still plans of putting the retaining wall and everything in there. I'm not sure where we're at with that.
I'm not too sure either. I'm just concerned with, with the basin is not accepting the water the way it is now, the way it's graded now. So, if you could make provisions, so at least the basin handles the water, so we don't have a constant flooding problem on the fields.
Well, Geraldine's monthly report talked about the Malone and McBroom report, which didn't look favorably upon moving the dumpster pad and some other things. So
Right.
that's being reworked, I understand. That's a question.
Yes, Joe, we were looking at a different arrangement of the dumpster pad and enclosure and access, correct?
Yeah, I haven't gotten that back from Malone McBroom yet.
Yeah. Essentially their first proposed, the first way that they proposed orienting the dumpster pads, they didn't recommend, didn't feel that there was enough clearance and reduced the access road to 12 feet, which might not be acceptable to the fire marshal either. So we went back, asked them to go back and look at a different arrangement instead of like a one big square enclosure Bob suggested, to kind of sawtooth it so that the two dumpsters are offset. So we just need to look at a different arrangement on that site in order to make a decision, in order to bring it to you to make a decision on how to proceed with that relocated dumpster pad.
So,
Even with that, you're going to have a problem without a road.
Well, yeah.
I'm not going to be able to bring the garbage truck down there.
so Ken, I understand not wanting to finish the road completely since heavy equipment is going to need to go across it in order to take care of the field, et cetera, et cetera. But is there a way to make it so that it's plowable and other equipment like the truck can come in to dump the dumpsters, et cetera?
Yeah, can we just get the binder course?
Can the
Right.
binder coat be put on so that, and that's going to get wrecked a little, but it can be kind of redone?
I'll talk to them tomorrow about getting the binder coat on there.
Because I think fire safety, I think, would be important also.
It might be better than just leaving the gravel or the process.
Okay,
Part of the layering process, I understand that, but it's got to be a little more workable than leaving it with just the process coat. And we'd understand that the binder coat's going to get a little messed up. But I think to Roy's point with the catch basins, et cetera, can they be, not that they need to be reworked right now, but if they're clogged up, is there a way to get them cleaned out somewhat so that anytime we have heavy rains, or even if we're looking to not doing that until the spring, in the spring, snow melts, et cetera,
It
it might
kind of
work
along that line, Nancy, I think that's why it'd be important if we could get the binder course on, and then at least the catch basins would function like they should be.
yeah, I think once they pour those curbs in the next couple days, that'll bring the water right into the catch basins. So, yeah, we'll definitely look at getting the binder course done.
Thank you.
I have one other question about so the perimeter insulation, you have it at 90%. When do you think you're going to be done at Johnson, and will they move directly over to Rockwell and start there?
Yeah, they did, they had 2 crews yesterday. So they were working on finishing up some of the painting at Johnson yesterday. And then another crew was spraying the insulation at Rockwell last night. So they got quite a bit done at Rockwell yesterday. So they're there right now proceeding with the work at Rockwell.
Nancy, I have another question.
Yep.
Hey, Ken, You said that the gym floor is 50% done, at Johnson. Are we at the
That was
point now
last-
we're gonna
that was
start laying?
last week.
I'm sorry, what?
That was last week. So we're pretty close to 75-80% now.
Okay, even more, the reason why I have to ask this question. At what point are you gonna start putting the lines down? And then possibly a logo? Has any discussion been put up about that yet?
We talked last Thursday about a logo and I didn't hear anything. They're talking about doing lines, I believe Thursday or Friday.
Well, I remember Dr. Carver, I think she's still on, but I remember Dr. Carver saying that she would like to have a generic B, not any specific school, but just a generic B for Bethel on the floor. Has any discussion take place about that?
I didn't hear anything about, I did hear about the talk of wanting Bethel, but I guess if there's just a B in the center, if we could get some kind of artwork to the line striper, he could probably put a B in there. Just didn't know, I didn't know what we wanted to do there.
I don't know if she's on, but I'll ask her in the morning. And then make sure she gets a hold of you.
Okay.
I think Dr. Carver said she was going to be jumping back and forth between here and Board of Finance. So, yeah, if you can talk about that and be in touch with Ken about it, that'd be great. Is there any other questions or anything on Johnson? I mean, I have questions that are sort of general, but we can wait till the end of Rockwell and when we're going to look at the schedule and such.
Okay. So for Rockwell, we've got some updates from last meeting, and the mulch was 100% for the playground. The bus canopy, 85%. The edge metal was at 75%. Painting in the gym was 95%. Lights, 95%. And looks like I had a duplication here. Then for the work in progress, the fence people started installing their posts for the fencing. The canopy phenolic panel, they started, so I was going to get their, they did the framing for it, or I get the Z-girts, the channels, and they're about 20% right now. The panels are being cut. As soon as the panels get cut, they'll install them. And then the edge metal is probably at 75%. They were working on the expansion joint change order yesterday and today. That's roughly over the teacher's lounge area. So they've finished that up today. The acoustical wall panels and the low wall panels did not start, but the acoustical wall panels did start. They've got a couple walls finished, and they're looking to finish by the end of this week in the gymnasium. And they've got 4 lights to put in the gym. So the lights are on in the gyms. They just have 4 left to put in place. I didn't get the rooftop insulation is pretty good. I believe they're at least 80 to 90% at this point in time. So they're getting close to completion. So we've got the insulated glass getting ready to start above the interior of the bus canopy. And then same with the roof at the bus canopy. And then next week, we also have the mitigation and leveling of the gym flooring. The poured gym floor will, that's incorrect. That's supposed to be the 21st. And the stage floor started yesterday, so they're moving along with that. They got the steps installed and the underlayment installed for the stage at Rockwell, so that's coming along. And then there's VCT in the receiving area that it didn't get on here, that they're wrapping up. If they probably at the end of the day had it wrapped up. I saw them midday, they looked like they were pretty close to finished, so that wasn't a long activity. And I think that's it for outside of the spray installation, which they started last night, and it's going pretty good. They're getting, they got quite a few rooms last night. And that's,
I have a couple questions for you,
How
Ken.
is that? Is it messy?
the spray installation is pretty good. They use plastic and they, you know, it looks pretty good when they put it on. They don't seem to get anything, you know, they're not just shooting wild up there. So it does look like after they've removed the plastic, I've looked at the pictures. They look like they do a pretty neat job.
Good.
Hey, Ken, it's Bob.
Yes.
When can we get rid of those portable lights in the main hallway, those carnival lights?
That I'll find out from Ferguson, because there were some lights that were being ordered. And I guess those lights there were the emergency. So I will find out.
It just looks like hell, that's all, you know?
Yeah.
You did a beautiful job in that lobby and you got these carnival lights hanging.
Okay, I'll find out where those are at.
Ken, it's Rich. I got a question. On the paved playing field, looks like that bank keep washing out up there.
Yeah.
Is there any plans to try to fortify that bank so it doesn't wash out every time we get a heavy rain?
Which, is this at Rockwell?
Yes.
Yeah, they worked all day on it. And it's on Friday. It's looking, I'm sorry, it was yesterday. It's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, because I was up there over the weekend and it looked like it was washed out with the rain we had over the weekend. So, all right, that's good.
Yeah, they did put some mesh over the embankment, and yeah, it looks like it did hold up from what it was. So yeah.
Okay.
So Ken, is the mesh going to be something that will be in place for the winter until they can do some plantings in the spring?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yes.
Hey, Ken,
So
I have another question.
Yep, go ahead, Bob.
The boiler room door, when are we gonna get a permanent door on that? Right now, it's just a wooden door that needs to be fireproof.
Yeah, it's right now, there's the new doors installed and the frame is being, the mason's gonna install the block for the frame is set and the mason's gonna permanently install it tomorrow. So it should only be a day or so before you have a working door there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so are there other questions for Ken or Jim on the construction part of either school?
Can you go back to the
How's their
entryway?
ductwork insulation coming on the roof? Weatherproofing.
Good. It's, right now, it's right around 85-90%. So they've been going along pretty good with the weather. I mean, they had a little bit of a rain last week, so they couldn't get a full weekend last week, but they're pretty close right now to being finished.
What's the projected completion on that?
I'm gonna say by Friday, he'll be wrapped up. He had, middle of last week, he was definitely at 50%. So, you know, maybe the smaller ducks are a little harder for him, but he should be done by the end of the week.
And the steel that they were gonna, the additional steel in the classrooms, and then also the fixing of the floors and the bathrooms as far as the rotted floor sections. Do you have a projected start date on those or completion dates?
So the steel columns were done in the kindergarten, and
Yeah.
just a matter of now is the flooring. And then the patching the ceiling. There's a couple ceiling tiles that have to go back in.
Okay, good.
The work for the deteriorated concrete in the toilet rooms is scheduled for the 28th of the month. To go in there and, you know, remove the toilet partitions and get in there and start taking out the old concrete and replacing the decking.
Did we ever get a price for that, or was?
We got most of the pricing in. I at the last Thursday meeting, I was talking that I was having a hard time with our steel contractor QSR. So we've since gone to Marcelli and just that contractor, and I'm not getting a drywall number for replacement of the gyp ceiling on the first floor has to come down because that's going to get full of materials. So I do have some estimates and I'll forward them. I'll make a proposal and send it over to Geraldine. I sent a number, but right now there's a couple of those numbers are estimates. I spoke to the steel guy today, so he's working on getting me a real number.
So to be clear, we're looking at using an alternate steel vendor, which may result in a non-reimbursable amount of expenditure. And also you're talking about replacing Verdi so that they don't do the drywall? Is that right?
Work with them so we can keep them.
Okay.
It's just, you know, he's been doing a lot of little things here and there, and he just hasn't had the time or made the time to give me the proposal that I've been asking him for since we've got this out there.
Okay, it's just that I wanted to make the commission aware that that we may be presenting pricing from contractors that are not on that, you know, are not currently on an approved list with the state, you know, in terms of already having a contract in order to expedite the work, much like we did with Marcelli Steel on the vestibule. You know, the decision to use a different contractor and risk the reimbursable amount versus the risk to schedule for not having the work start. So when we bring that new pricing to you, we'll have to look at the individual pieces. Because I mean, the work's got to proceed. And honestly, at Rockwell, we're going to be past the reimbursable limit. Even if they approve the request that the district has put in for the abatement, we're going to be past the reimbursable amount. So it may not matter, but.
Okay, we can look
Yeah,
at
but
it.
if we're doing it to improve the schedule, I mean, we gotta weigh it out, right?
Yeah,
We're
Well-
looking, everybody wants to get done. Everybody's anxious to get done.
and it needs to be done over the holidays. This is work that cannot be
Yeah.
done because the restrooms have to be closed.
Right, so,
It is a scheduling issue.
mhm.
Well, then we also have to look at, if QSR is a scheduling issue, but also are they going to have a price that's so high that it would be a wash as far as reimbursables anyways?
Hey, Nancy, I have a question as far as the reimbursable, Ellen, maybe. Since this was discovered, kind of considerably after, we didn't know this part of the original contract per se. Is that taken into consideration as far as reimbursables? That we really didn't find out about this till much later?
Yeah, the issue with the reimbursable amount is that when Rizzo goes directly to a single subcontractor who is not already part of the bid, who wasn't already part of the bid process to build the GMP,
Right.
that's considered a sole source contractor, which the state frowns on. And while we might be able to make, an appeal and a case for the fact that it is a schedule issue, we needed to get them on, the current steel contractor was non-responsive, they may or may not accept that, is all I want to present
Okay.
to the commission. There is a risk there that amount, whatever the cost of the steel for that change, probably small, I don't know how small it is, but that piece of it might not stand up to the reimbursement review.
Okay.
So if we're looking at the construction report, are we going to at some point specifically look at the schedule part, like the new proposed schedule, to see where we are with completion, et cetera?
Would you like to?
Well, we would because I think there's some things that we still have questions on for construction, but it's going to tie into the new schedule update.
Yeah, that was kind of question that I had on the entryway over at Johnson School too, so maybe that will be covered on that section.
So this is the Johnson new schedule. It might be small to see, but Ken has broken it into, sort of areas of work. So for instance, we have gym, cafeteria, site work, the insulation, the perimeter insulation, some commissioning and some roofing work at Johnson. So it looks to me like work on the gym is on schedule for this schedule that was proposed, that has been presented. If we're down to installing wall pads this week, and the gym floor is, pretty close to being done next week. But so I guess site work we might want to address. We know that the field extension, which is down at the bottom of the section, is going to be pushed to next spring. There's some miscellaneous metals work that had been projected to be done by the end of December, but is that still going to stretch out that far, Ken?
Trying to get the QSR to finish up, but it's right now I'm unsure if they're going to be able to happen. So we're in discussions with them right now, just trying to get the work done by the end of this year, and they have that, and they have the screen wall roof supports that also have to go up. There's 2 of them for Johnson.
Yep. But the playgrounds are on schedule. The fencing at Johnson will be done.
Yeah, they started yesterday, or no, I'm sorry, they started today, this morning, and so they're putting the posts up, and they go along pretty good. I think they have 3 or 4 guys, and so that should be done by the end of the week.
So that's on schedule according to this new schedule. We just talked about the spray insulation on the beams. Sounds like you were projecting that it would be done by the end of the month, but you're saying it'll be done by the end of this week. Correct?
I think that'll be improved on, yes.
Yeah. And how about the stair flooring, the 2 stairs? Well, for sure, the ceramic tile stair and then the rubber stair. Is this projection, is this completion date still accurate of the 21st?
I gotta check with the materials for stair 1. That was part of the reason that I was still waiting for the date from when his materials were getting here. But I do think we'll be able to get those in, definitely by the end of this month anyway.
Okay. I'm going to skip over commissioning for a minute and go down to the main entrance. So that would be Roy's question. You are showing, again, that the entire entry vestibule will be completed by the end of this month. And you have some interim, steel done by the 18th, roofing done by the 28th, and then interior finishes. How is that schedule looking?
He started the anchor bolts and he's going to continue with them this weekend and start setting some columns and some steel. And then we'll look to get the secure vestibule installed and the remaining steel and it's right now it's in the works. So it's materials have been fabricated, so it's just a matter of now getting the steel out here and putting it up. So it's definitely in progress now.
So does it look, but are you expecting it to be usable by the time the kids come back from the break, which is January 4th?
That's what our goal is right now. We're targeting.
Okay. Any other specific questions about the Johnson schedule?
Well, I'm looking at, looks like you're looking to complete a lot by the time students come back. And then you have some in January that you need to work on, but then you've got site work going out to April. Is that what we're looking at?
That was for the field. Yes.
So it's mostly the field. Looks
Correct.
like it goes out to April.
Would be the field and the roadway, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be both?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, but everything else is done by mid-January, it looks like.
Well,
I'm
at
sorry.
Johnson, I think everything else should be done by the first of the year.
Right. I mean, there's a couple of
Okay.
things in there that we have to have resolution to as far as the, dumpster pad and
Right,
retaining wall.
right.
Those dates are, I couldn't put the dates in there, but they had to have a date to show them on the schedule.
And will there be other plantings and things like that that need to be done in the spring too?
Just some grass, some lawns, just seed.
Okay. Any other questions on that schedule for Johnson, which just went away, but that's okay. We can do Rockwell.
So at Rockwell, again, we have the gym. In this case, again, projected to be complete in its entirety by the end of the year. Yeah, is that still a good target date, Ken, or is there anything about the mitigation, the moisture mitigation work and the flooring that might be at risk?
No, we got him set up for starting on Monday. Right now, we should be looking okay. The actual gym flooring material is in, so no, we should be okay there.
Okay. And there's a whole bunch of stuff under this. So under site work, the playground fence still projected to be completed by next week, so they can start using the playground potentially. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
they'll need another week, but it'll be midweek next week.
Okay. We talked about the bus canopy. Is that December 18th date still good, or is that also going to push into the holiday break? Are they making progress on the, on the canopy and then the entrance?
That one, I might be a little tight on that date. December 18th might be a little tight.
All right, so that might, we'll look at that again on Thursday's meeting. And how about progress on the intersection with Whittlesey Drive?
He says he wants to get started on it, so it's more, as soon as he's done with his crews doing the curbs that he's got left over at Johnson, he's gonna be moving over to start that.
Now, how is he, I mean, obviously, we still need to use that entrance. So is there a logistics plan or a plan for how that's going to be approached, one side and then the other side, or presumably, so that parents can still use that bus loop?
I'll get that from them, just so he may just come in on a weekend to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is that really a 5-day job, or are they able to consolidate that?
I think he could take it apart and put most of it back together. And I think the curbing might be a little bit more difficult, but it would only be a short piece of the, you're making it bigger anyway, so he'll have a little more room there to work. But that would probably be the part that's going to take more than a day or two is setting up the curbing.
And they're going next door to New York to a plant for the asphalt.
They'll probably have to do that because our plants won't be open.
Okay.
So it looks like the majority of, looks like you're looking to get everything finished more like mid-January here. I mean, the bulk of it will be done by the end of the year or through the holiday time when you need to have the schools to do what you need to do, but the bulk of the work will be done by mid-January.
Well, Ken, I'd like you to tell us that the bulk of the work is going to be done by the end of the year, and then we can highlight the things that might go into January. I mean, this schedule shows the spray installation ending mid-January, but they've started, if they've started today, is there, it sounds like there should be a good possibility that they complete that perimeter installation before the end of the year as well and not go into January. Ken, what do you think?
I agree. Yeah, I think that's moving along, and that'll probably finish up a lot sooner than that date.
Yeah. And we do know that there is a schedule issue with those gang bathrooms, because a week may not, or probably is not enough time to take it out, repair, restore. But I think what we talked about last week is the reason that date is showing as January 15th is that it's not that the bathrooms are going to be unusable through that date, but that we may need a weekend day or Martin Luther King's birthday holiday or some date in January to go in there and complete work that can't be done while the kids are in school. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So essentially that work will be slightly ongoing, but not, not the whole project ongoing into January. And this, these land cards at the alarm panel, we're actually talking with Bob about having the current alarm vendor do this work, since Ferguson can't seem to procure these cards. So we're looking for a solution to that. So
But
hopefully
I did
that
get
won't
an
be happening.
update. Not to interrupt, Carolyn, I did get an update. And
Okay,
I guess with the IP addresses that he asked for and received this afternoon, they, Open Systems has a tech that they're scheduling, but before the meeting, I did not see if he was able to schedule them tomorrow or what, but he did say in an email that he had the panels that he needed. So he does have the parts and pieces. He was put on a notice like we talked about last Thursday. So we're hoping that before this Thursday's meeting, I'm gonna be able to say, yeah, he's out there installing it, but I don't have confirmation on that yet.
okay, so he may be installing the cards, and is that, no, Bob? So we may have resolution on that this week.
Yeah,
Well, can I interrupt?
Yes, please.
I thought I was given the guidance. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were. Yes, you were.
Well, okay, the materials had just been ordered and they're supposed to be installed within 5 days. So are we gonna have duplicate projects going on at the same time?
We had to give a 3-day notice. That's what we talked about last Thursday.
Well, I thought I had got the green light on that.
So
Yeah.
where are we with it?
That was my impression as well. So Bob has ordered the cards through
United.
United Alarm, and Ferguson now says they can get the cards that they haven't been able to get through Open Systems. Yeah, we're not paying for this twice, so.
I mean, we have to go by the contract. We did talk about it last Thursday.
Yeah, but I was
We
under the
did, but I
impression I
also-
got the green light.
Yeah, me too.
Not without the 3-day notice.
So do you guys need to look at either the minutes or the recording of that meeting? Is it this, it was last Thursday's meeting, you're saying, right?
Yeah, it was, but it was more of and I'm gonna bet that the meeting minutes reflect my impression, which was that we were gonna go ahead with United Alarm. It was more of a nod from Jim more than anything else. Yeah, you better, the impression was, yeah, you better take care of it yourself because we're not getting anywhere with Ferguson. So yeah, so suddenly you gave them the 3-day notice that you were gonna pull that part out of their scope, and suddenly the land cards show up.
Well, I placed a call 1 hour after that meeting and they placed the order the following morning.
Ken, are you saying that Ferguson is saying they've got land cards now?
I'm sorry, Nancy. We've been asking Ferguson for this for I don't know how long. So the reason at Thursday's meeting, the frustration came up from Bob was because we've been waiting. We can't just circumvent the contract. So what we talked about at Thursday is, look, we have to give this guy a 3-day notice, a formal 3-day notice, which is what we did. At the end of the day, we're just trying to get this thing done. It's not as if, we hadn't asked for this information from him. This hasn't been going back and forth with Ferguson for at least 3 weeks. So yes, as far as we are concerned, we put Ferguson on notice. He can put in writing that he's responding, but if the cards weren't there within 3 days, it's not a problem.
Okay, so we're okay?
It's going to be a fight, but the reason we're in a fight is because they didn't do what they were asked to do.
Okay, so is there a problem? When did you give Ferguson the 3-day notice?
Right after that Thursday meeting.
So that's 3 days. Cards aren't here. United Alarm's gonna take care of it. Correct?
Sounds like that's
Yep.
where we're headed, yes.
And Ferguson will have to take the cards and sell them on eBay.
It's Ferguson. It's not going to end there, but that's where we're at as a team.
Okay. And you'll talk about it more probably Thursday at the Thursday meeting.
At least then we'll know who's doing the work, yes.
How much for the cards?
One good thing, they're not that expensive, at least where I'm buying them. I don't know about Ferguson, because Ferguson's, everything's $2,000.
This
How
is
much
part
were
of
the
their base
cards?
contract. I mean,
Bob, how much were the cards?
I don't have that actual invoice just yet, but they're probably going to be about $700 a piece each building.
So 2 cards at $750 a piece?
They're about $700 a piece.
Oh, okay.
Not much. I'm sure they'll be able to return. I've been able to do that in the past with,
Well, I mean, they had such a long time to get it going.
yeah.
That's the only reason why I threw my hat in the ring on that.
yes, I mean, this was a system that was supposed to be operational in August. So
And it
here we are, in
shouldn't-
December, still trying to get them to finish it. That's part of the issue. It's not the 3-day notice. It's that we finally gave them 3-day notice that we're done with them, you know.
Shouldn't
Well-
have taken this long.
They can't even get emergency lights in the main hallway at Rockwell. It's been such a long time with that.
Yep. So, you're gonna discuss it Thursday, yes? And we'll have to see where we go with it. We can't, I mean, there are decisions that we need to make right now, correct?
Right.
Right. I do have a question, which it's probably, I'm not sure if it's anywhere on the schedule, but the whole situation with, I believe was at Johnson with the flooring and the door, the stage door, et cetera, which had to be lowered, but then we were going to try to do something different with the floor. Did that get resolved?
We got the for lowering the track for the partition and put the proposal together and resent it in.
But I thought we were going to try to not end up with a whole bunch of flooring that we can't use.
Guess that we have to put in the LVT flooring and not the wood flooring. So I don't know. I think Joe was working to see if the floor could be returned. I don't know, Joe, did you have any luck with that?
I haven't, I recalled the rep a couple times. I haven't heard back from him. He was supposed to send me information on, it seems like it can be returned, but it doesn't sound like from what he was saying that there might be any credit for it. But it
I
sounded like
thought
you
we're
wouldn't be.
also, yeah, but I thought, like Nancy was saying, I thought we were looking at some other design alternatives to that.
I was looking at what was actually installed, and the only alternative is to install the LVT, because the folding glass partition at the exterior and the exterior egress door were installed at the slab height, and the operable partition is installed at the wood floor height. So we would have to take out the glass door and the egress door to make the wood work.
Okay, so the flooring's resolved, but we still have a stack of wood flooring that we have to do something with. And you're
Yeah, and
still
and
looking into that.
yeah, hopefully they will get back to me and be able to take it back, because it basically, the custom aspect of it is because it's FSC certified, which is from the Connecticut High Performance Building, and that it was end grain, first cut, first grade. So I mean, it's stuff we specify all the time. So
And it's stuff that can be used kind of in a lot of different situations, so
yeah,
they should be able to sell it to somebody else, hopefully.
right.
All right, does anyone else have any questions on the schedule? Anything else that came up for them about construction? Because this schedule is, it's going to impact the project in a number of different ways in that it's going to require, because there's somewhat of an extension at Rockwell and a larger extension just mostly for site work at Johnson. So it puts us in a position of how does that impact people who, well, different parts of the team. So STV, Perkins Eastman, IES, et cetera. And they're looking at their own schedules
Rizzo.
since they were. Well, right,
Yeah,
you too, but
we got a lot of
you,
changes that we're working on to complete, and that's why we're running into some of these dates that we have on the schedule.
well, we also have to look at, to me, there's kind of three different situations, and maybe there's more if other people want to chime in, but we've got some of the abatement issues that we had, extra abatement issues at Rockwell, had COVID, but then your schedule wasn't always, you weren't always keeping with your schedule. And so, are we looking at a situation where other people are going to be moving on to other jobs? Is stuff going to really get done? So not just the main members like Perkins Eastman, STV, Rizzo, IES, et cetera, those part of the teams, but the subs I'm hoping are going to be sticking with it too and getting stuff done. So how do we figure out how this is going to impact everybody else, and how do we deal with that? And where do we, and I don't know as we have answers tonight, but it's going to impact, I'm sure, everybody's schedules, that's then going to somehow impact, not somehow, but in some way impact our budget. How do we look at that? Because I don't have any answers.
I think we need to have Rizzo answer some of these.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Obviously, we'll submit what we have, what we feel, the issues are. And they have.
Okay, good. No, I think that'd be good, Jim. I think if you just lay it out in a written format, we just go and address this so we all understand, what it's going to be.
We'll have something in writing to you guys before the next Tuesday meeting.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
So any other questions? Because we're also going to need to know how budget-wise and schedule-wise this is going to impact, like I said, all the other main members of the team, STV and Perkins Eastman and IES. It looks like a majority of the work will be completed, but we'll still need to have people involved with making sure things are getting done, et cetera. So.
Yep. I think as we start to see that schedule from Jim, Nancy, I think it will start to come together as far as how we can look at the whole project.
Yeah.
Will there be dollar amounts?
What's that?
Will there be some kind of a dollar amount or guesstimate at least to let us know where we're going to stand?
Well, I think that's going to have to be. We're going to have some dollar
Yep.
amounts from a number of different people.
That would be what we would be doing, yes.
So Jim, you're saying you'd be putting dollar amounts together for Rizzo.
For Rizzo, some subs that are, COVID impacts type. I know we've already gotten some letters from Acoustics. We've been put on notice by Action Air and Ferguson. We haven't seen anything from them. But certainly whoever has put us on notice, we'll make sure that they're mentioned in there. And for some of them, we can't put an order of magnitude, but we need to all be aware that there is the potential out there. The longer they wait, the less it helps them, but they've still put us all on notice.
But they'll also, part of that analysis is to get real data on where their cost increase might be due to a delay. For one thing, if it's all the same amount of work, spread out over more time, that's something different than a real cost to them for extending the work.
I agree.
You know what I
with
mean?
this. A lot of
So,
concurrency, things like that, I would agree with you.
yeah, so that's important. And I will say that as a consultant, I mean, the next thing to understand is to what extent you will require our services going forward. You know, well, for example, the field extension, we already have a additional services agreement with Perkins Eastman, Malone, and McBroom. So you can expect that they will be around next spring when that work is completed to look at the work, certify, say that it's done properly, punch list it, whatever. But if you intend for, and I will speak for Perkins Eastman as well, if you intend for us, for STV and Perkins Eastman to continue to attend bi-monthly meetings going forward all the way through, I don't know, June or something, then there probably is an additional cost there. Because I know in terms of STV calculating closeout costs, our assumptions usually are, it's a few hours here, it's a few hours there. We'll still review, invoice requisitions for payment from Rizzo, to close out the base building work, January and February. We'll look at the bond releases. But at that point, we're pretty much, I will continue to work with Terry on reimbursement requests at the state, but there will, at some point, there's no longer a need for instance, the weekly Thursday meetings and, sort of the regular contact, because at some point the base building work is done and we're just waiting for some of these outstanding additional projects to be completed. And so necessarily our time would be less, necessarily Perkins Eastman time would be less. So one thing we will have to figure out, I guess, is what level of how much time, what level of attention is going to be needed, say in the next 6 months. I mean, for IES, they're going to be commissioning the cooling system next June, but that's built into their contract right now.
Right.
The question is whether you're going to need me to have anything to do with that, or whether you're going to need somebody from DTC or from Perkins Eastman at that point, and how much time you'll need from them. So I think we all have to go back and try and make a best guess on what our services could be going forward, and try to put some dates on that.
And the impact of the finance.
Yep. I think that's good, Geraldine. I think as you get farther into it, I totally agree with, we got to have a roadmap to this.
Because I will say both for Perkins Eastman and myself, our fees were based on the buildings being completed, on or about August, September. But they were also definitely based on a substantial completion of the entire project on December 5th, which was the contractual date with Rizzo. So, there's some leeway in my mind around that date, but to push things into the next year obviously ties up some time. So
Yep.
I think for me, I can put my best guess on what that time should be and could be. And I guess I would ask Joe to do the same thing, because we necessarily need the architect to weigh in on some closeout tasks as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll speak with Joe Costa about it.
Good.
Good, thanks. So, and then looking at the schedule too, do we have punch list kinds of things on here, or is that just a given? And these are just big major parts that need to be taken
So
care of.
we started talking about that last Thursday at our meeting. I think that of the areas that were turned over in September, I didn't really look at the punch list that was the updated punch list that was issued last week, but I think we're probably pretty much there. The areas that were just turned over this week, we would anticipate, and the areas in both schools, everything except the gyms, right, in both schools. Those areas were punch listed by Perkins Eastman. I would expect that, under the right circumstances, all those punch list items could be resolved within about 6 or 8 weeks. So that brings us probably to the end of January. Now, the balance of the project, so that would be the gyms and the exterior, I don't think, Joe, was ever punch listed, correct?
The exterior, I punch listed the exterior, so
Okay.
probably
But
needs
it's-
another
but- so
once
there's-
over for the gym area. Because there was stuff that
Right.
was not completed when I did the exterior.
Gym's interior, gym's exterior, and then some portion of the site work that is yet to be punch listed. Again, we
Right.
would probably, we would estimate that after that punch list was complete, was compiled by the design team and then issued, we would expect the contractor to need another, 4 to 6, depending on, the extent of the punch list to complete that. So there will be punch list resolution work going on probably until maybe the end of February. But again, that's the sort of work where it would not necessarily need daily attention from either myself or Perkins Eastman or the design team. There would be a period sort of when they're complete or as they're completing where we would verify that all the punch list work is done. I wouldn't need the same level of attention that we've been given the project today.
Okay.
Carolyn, on the punch list items, I know, our committee has walked around the buildings and we've noted, a variety of different items and, they might be on Joe's list and your list, what have you. I know there was some hot buttons that some of the committee members had as far as the workmanship and what have you, not a lot, but there's a couple items that were brought up a couple times. How do we make sure, the items that we've been thinking about are also included with your list on that? Is that something that, how do you recommend? Just to make sure, they might already be there, but I'm just, making sure that, our committee is also satisfied that the punch list items are taken care of.
Yes, so the list that, at least the parts of the list that came over by email recently from your most recent site visit, those things were discussed at a building committee meeting, and I'm looking for them right now. And most, I would say, everything except the issue with the sunscreens at the Rockwell cafeteria. I think everything else on that list did occur on the Perkins Eastman punch list, and the construction team was aware.
Okay, because some of the items that I'm a little bit concerned about, and I can see them being outside of Rizzo's contract, are, some cracks and some caulking and what have you, as far as where they hook up the different spots in the building and what have you. And I'm sure it was not part of Rizzo's original contract, but they're in dire need of being, repaired. And so I don't know how we should handle some of those because, they're going to create long-term problems. And, obviously kind of part of this renovation is they should have been included, but, understanding how the contracts are written, I don't think they would have been.
So that I guess I'm not clear on. Is there, or do you have the ability to put together a list of things that you're seeing on the school that weren't part of the project scope?
I think our committee could put together some and probably either review them with Ken or even Jim on those. I'm not even saying that they're part of Rizzo's, original work. It's just that,
right.
It's just that we have contractors, or subcontractors out there now that are doing that, those repairs, even if it had to be built on a T&M or on some of those, I would definitely think it would be in the best of our interest to get these done, so we have a completed, renovated school. And there's not a lot. I'm not saying that this is a huge problem, but I know there were some particular items, and I would gladly put together with or get together with our subcommittee, with our group, and then work with Jim or Geraldine, whoever you think, and just quick look at these.
If people have things, we can get them. You can get them to me. I can get them to Geraldine, and they can be dealt with.
Yep. Yep, that's
Go on
maybe
over
what we'll do, Nancy. I'll
Yeah.
see if I can talk to the committee and just, just kind of look at their hot button per se items, and we'll discuss them.
Yeah, because I think part of the discussion that we would want to have with Rizzo is, depending on what the scope of the work that you're looking at might be, some subcontractors are going to be more amenable to staying on and doing additional work, and some just want to go home. So we may
Agreed.
have to work with them on what can be done on, with current subcontractors. What we might have to work with Bob on is a maintenance issue, or,
Right,
but starting with the list would be helpful.
that'd be good. And then we could just, hit any of the hot items that are part of the contract that we should talk about too. So that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brian Gerald, if you could copy me on that list too.
Yeah, that'd be great, Joe. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we can't, like spend a whole lot of time in a meeting like this. I think that's something that would be done in a
Yeah,
Thursday
Yeah.
meeting, rather than lots of time here tonight or other Tuesday.
that's agreed.
All that. So
100%.
You never know, we might, the reason, the very first reason to copy Joe on the list as well is because we might find some of those things were supposed to be done under this
Correct.
project. So let's, definitely look at where the concerns are.
Thank you.
good, thanks. All right, so anything more on the schedule or construction update? Because we can move on to the next bullet is FF&E technology and playground update. We got some of that in both the construction and the schedule update. It sounds like kids are going to be playing on the playground soon.
Sounds like it, and potentially next week at Rockwell, and maybe a little after that. I know that, they need fencing. Obviously, we need the certification from Malone and McBroom, and they were out on Monday to take a look,
Yes.
finished playgrounds. And tomorrow there is a site visit by Ultiplay to meet with Bob and the custodial staff to talk about maintenance of the equipment. So I think we're very close to having usable playgrounds.
And just for Geraldine, I walked through with zoning today and took them to both playgrounds as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good. So, and then anything with furniture that we need to know?
There is not. There's the next round of installations will be on the 16th, on next Wednesday, when school is not in session in Johnson. But there is really nothing, nothing pending there. And technology, there are ongoing issues with getting the security system fully up and running. There are ongoing issues. Obviously, we heard with the alarm system and the land card installation, and D'Agostino is continuing to work with the contractors with ESC to resolve those issues. Just an ongoing process.
Okay. Any questions for anybody on that? Budget review.
Budget review, we'll start with the tracking budgets to show completion of contract against overall budget. So at Johnson, we are billed out to 85% of the total project and 90% of construction, which is accurate in our estimation. And down here in the big red box, we see that at Johnson, we still have currently about just under $1.8 million in contingency remaining. And at Rockwell, similarly, we're a little bit farther ahead on completion. 89% build out of the entire project, 91% of construction is built out, and we are currently in the red, $331,000 of contingency, which means that technically the town is pulling money from the combined contingencies to continue to pay the bills on Rockwell. And that can be more clearly seen on this cash flow projection. Where so today in the PCO section of this budget, we are not presenting any PCOs for Rockwell, and we'll review the QSR Steel delay claim of 30,000, but we do still have some pending change orders here in these two total amounts. We have some PCOs expected. We've been carrying some of these numbers for a while, waiting to see what the actual PCOs come in at. Total of 150,000 at both schools. We have the additional fee requests from Perkins Eastman, and then we have some projected unused line items to the budget. And the result here is that we're anticipating, in a conservative estimate, another $545,000 worth of project costs over and above the approved contract costs. The current contingency, as I said, at Rockwell is 331,000 in the hole, but is a plus 1.7 plus at Johnson, which results in current total contingency of about 1.4. We take away the $545,000 of projected potential additional costs. We're still projecting to finish the project with over $800,000 in total combined contingency. And then these numbers below are the contingencies shown on the current Rizzo application for payment. Not that they're real numbers, they're real numbers in some sense, but of course, on the construction side, they are still working through their own additional costs that may affect those balances.
So just a question on like the additional fee request for Perkins Eastman. Do the amounts include the few amounts we've already approved for the very specific items, or are they added there, or are they somewhere else?
They're somewhere else. So everything that's already been approved is up in this blue line that says current overall budget. So
Okay.
Everything that's already been approved and accounted for in each school is here. This is an increase in those project budgets over the original, the original projection.
Right.
So the numbers here under Perkins Eastman are the same numbers that were projected, I think a couple of weeks ago. So this
Right,
includes
right.
their actual costs and then projected to finish through December.
And that's projected to finish through December, but now we're looking at,
That's true. This does not include any projections of anybody's additional cost past the contract date of, December.
which we're going to have to deal with. Of course.
Potentially out of that 833,000 that we're projecting to be the balance at closeout.
Well, but you have am I looking at the wrong, it's actually being blocked by I got to get rid of that. Oh, the 833, got it, okay.
Yeah, so that projected owner contingency, that is taking into account everything up here that we know of today or might know of tomorrow, and applying the remaining contingencies.
Okay. Any questions on any of this from anybody? Questions, observations, etc.? Good? Or not good?
Yeah, well,
I know it's what it is.
Is there any other open items out there as far as estimates, like what we just talked about, previously on that Rockwell bathroom floors that we haven't gotten yet?
so that I have tried to account for some of those things. So for instance, here on this restroom metal deck replacement at Rockwell, the current ballpark estimate was a little under $60,000. So I've inserted that. But again, that's one of those areas where Rizzo is still compiling the actual subcontractor costs. So
Okay. No, good. I'm glad you had something in there.
Yeah, same thing with like the slope and the retaining wall at Johnson. I'm still carrying $20,000 now. If we don't really do the retaining wall, but we're moving the dumpster pad, I mean, hopefully that number's still good. But yes, we've tried to, things that we know are out there, we've tried to at least include an estimate. I've estimated. So that's, you know, it's not coming necessarily from the construction side.
Good, thank you.
So as I said tonight, we were looking at only one potential change order. Now this is, we looked at this change order for Johnson. It's change order number 100. We first looked at it last meeting and it was in the amount of, I think, 34,000 and something. And it was not acted on because Jim had explained that he had negotiated this to a flat $300,000. Sorry, $30,000. And so that change order has been resubmitted. And should we review the circumstances of this change order?
Yes.
I'll start and then Jim or Ken can chime in. And actually, I think I'd like Joe to chime in as well. So back in August of 2019, there were some revisions made to the steel shop drawings. Anybody can stop me when I get it incorrect. After the review of the shop drawing package, which was massive, this is for the classroom edition at Johnson. Some changes were required. They were based on, I'm assuming, things that were reviewed within the shop drawings. I think some coordination issues. There was some, so QSR is saying that they needed to do additional detailing work, 120 hours of revising shop drawings at this amount of $10,800. And then because the review and the revisions put them behind schedule, they instituted an expedited process of fabrication in order to meet the original deadline. So they expedited their fabrication process by 4 weeks and incurred $23,400 worth of overtime. And then there was a slight credit for some steel that was not used. So, so we are sitting here on $30,000, on a $30,000 request for this additional detailing and overtime work required for the steel for the classroom edition. When this originally came to us, I think it was last February, the 6-month deadline to submit this change order to the state for reimbursement had passed. And at that time, the building committee decided to not accept it because the subcontractor did not submit an invoice in a timely manner. Then the fact that we did not deal with this $30,000 claim came up again when QSR was being pressed to make the revisions to the Johnson vestibule. And I think at that point, when it was brought up again, that's where the $34,000 number originally came to us in a new PCO. They weren't going to move on the additional vestibule work without getting compensated, without an agreement to compensate them for the additional work that they had done last summer for the steel at the classroom edition. Have I gotten anything incorrect yet? Joe or Jim?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Don, I was muted. The only issue there is this QSR is a bigger problem, on both jobs. But the issue with this one was, and our feeling is, based on our negotiating with him, he was at 46,000 when this whole thing started. We went through the dates with him, went through the times with him. Yeah, he recognizes that his invoice was not timely, but his notification of the issue was timely. So it presented an exposure to the team. And that's something that we had discussed at the previous owners meeting. I believe it was Richie who said, let's see if we can say what we would need to do to resolve this with him. the reason I bring all that stuff up is I think that, on our side of the ledger, this cleans things up with him. But there are going to be things where Ken's going to have to go out now and get pricing to now threaten to do his work for him. So I do think that it's not the end of QSR. And I wish I could tell you that, hey, if you gave him this, everything goes away. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this cleans up that side of it. And from this point forward, it's pretty clear if he doesn't do something, we're going to give him a proposal for it for somebody else to do it. And then it's coming out of his contract. But this would have been the one item where, whether he sues for $30,000 or not, I couldn't tell you, but that was the threat. That was what he was, agitated about.
But hey, Jim, going forward on this, as far as, do you think it's still going to be, if we clean this up with this one going forward, do you feel that puts you in a better position to hopefully resolve some of the future items, or you think he's still going to be a pain in the ass?
I do, but I don't want to mislead you. I think QSR has fundamental problems within their company. I don't think it's just that.
But
But
it gives, well,
that-
it does give you more flexibility to switch teams at this point too, though.
Exactly.
I make a motion that we pay over with.
Who made the motion?
Roy,
This is work that's all done, though, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
if we're going to continue, I'll second it just so we can continue the discussion.
yep, that's good.
Dave asked if it's work that's all done. It is work that's all done, correct?
Correct, Nancy.
So,
Yeah, correct. Last August of 2019, it was done.
but Geraldine, I believe I remember in your report that you were not recommending approval and that Perkins Eastman was not recommending approval, yet it's in your recommended approval in the budget tracking thing.
Yes. I personally, I'm not recommending or not recommending.
Okay.
There is the fact that they did not invoice for it in a timely manner. There is some discussion about whether about the changes that needed to be made to the steel. Joe can speak to that. The validity of that claim. And my only outstanding concern is that I don't understand the need to expedite. They did expedite the fabrication. I'm not disputing that they did any of this work. So this work is all done. My only comment about the expediting of the fabrication is that I don't know what deadline they were trying to meet by incurring these additional costs to shorten the fabrication from 8 to 4 weeks, because this was for a classroom edition that didn't end up getting turned over until March. So the extra cost of fabrication is kind of,
That's from your December to your February date. That's the.
right. And so that's my only comment.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that QSR did not do all of this work in good faith. I'm just, I kind of, I'm with Roy. We are where we are today, and it just might be a cost that needs to be absorbed by the project in order to move on.
That's a little bit where I am, Geraldine.
Well, and I think also in negotiating the costs down, we could spend time looking at, since we're not getting the reimbursement, the lower cost somewhat offsets some of that.
I hate to go to litigation on this too. So,
Right.
for this,
And Jim pointed out, they did bring it down from an original, I thought it was 54 actually, when we were first talking about it.
That's what I thought too.
It has come down. So,
You're right, Joe.
It was quite a bit higher.
yep.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or input on this that we're doing sort of under protest, but
great.
whose side?
Sorry, that was me.
Heavy sigh. All right, so are we ready to take a vote?
Yep.
All in favor? Nobody's in favor? Either raise your hand or unmute yourself or something.
We couldn't hear you, Nancy. You got chopped out.
Okay, that's been kind of happening with everybody else too, so we're voting, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Because if you're opposed, you gotta kind of tell me, 'cause I'm scrolling through here to see everyone. Everybody's good?
Yeah,
All right,
Good, but not
it
good.
carries.
yeah.
Good,
Good
but not good. Moving forward. And you said that was the only change order for tonight, Geraldine?
The only one, yep.
Yeah. The room, I know we got an invoice, and although I don't know as we have a completed report yet. And John's not here he seems to be the one that's communicating most with Weston and Sampson. So I don't think we have anything specific there. Unless, Geraldine, you don't have anything, do you?
I don't have anything, and I haven't seen any correspondence on that.
I haven't either. And if John sent something, I'm sure we would have sent it out to everyone. So
Yeah.
we'll have to look at that at our next meeting. Professional services, which we are just still struggling with, but not, struggling is not the right word. I think we're still reviewing, and now we're looking at having to look at this in a number of different areas. So we're going to have to,
Especially with the extension.
yes, really put together some figures so we can
Yep.
deal with this, because I'm gonna have to, I'm supposed to do, well, the commission is supposed to report to the Board of Selectmen quarterly, which I haven't done in a while. So I'm gonna have to do some probably end of the year thing to them, letting them know where we are with everything and some of the possible extensions that are going to need to be dealt with, while we also stay within the referendum budget. And is there any, I know in your report, Geraldine, you talked about the, Dr. Carver did send her letter, report, et cetera, to the Office of School Construction.
They did, it went in, yes, it was submitted. We have
Right.
not heard anything back either way, which is probably good news, yeah.
How long does that usually take?
It's
Months
at the
or weeks?
discretion, well, hopefully less than that. It's at the discretion of the commissioner. So it's just something he needs to review and respond to. There's not really a deadline. Michelle Dixon, who is the grant administrator, did review both the draft letter and the sort of the financial tabulation that we included. And she had some suggestions. Terry and I revised some parts of the spreadsheet, and then it went in. So we think it should receive a favorable review. I just can't predict when it might happen.
Okay. All right, so now we got to do invoices. Before we get into invoices, if anybody's got anything else, let's jump into that. I would strongly suggest, if you have specific construction items that, again, we put a list together that we can get to the team for the OAC meeting, it would be better dealt with in that manner rather than hashing everything through here. And you're all welcome to sign into those meetings. Geraldine sends the info out, then
Yeah, I don't
everybody's
send it
welcome.
to everybody. So if anybody does want to be added to the list, let me know.
All right, anything else that Joe Collada, anybody else have anything that, you need to bring up for us?
Nope, all good.
All righty then, I guess we will do some, and it just seems too early to do invoices for some reason.
Oh, Nancy, don't do that. Come on.
So in the spirit of invoices, we were not able to process an application for payment for November from Rizzo for this meeting. So
Oh, good.
It-
Yes.
We have reviewed it and sent back comments, and I know that Ken's in the midst of revising, having some contractor invoices revised, and we just didn't get it all together to get to you today. So just in advance of a discussion about the next meeting, it's important that we do have a meeting in the next week or two in order to be able to deal with that, with their requisition in a timely manner.
So I'm just going to look at a calendar quickly. So you're saying, so we have a meeting scheduled for the 22nd. That's our next regular
Correct.
meeting. That would be the
Yeah,
end
my
of
only question, which would be fine. I just wanted to be sure that if there was some movement to not meet on the 22nd, that we did not postpone, that we didn't just cancel that meeting and postpone things to January. That's
right. So let's talk about that right now before we jump into invoices. It is a couple of days before Christmas. I'm hoping people aren't going places because you should stay safely at home and Zoom with your family or meet outside in the backyard. So the 22nd, do we have any issues? Anybody please jump in and let me know if there are issues with people being able to do a meeting on the 22nd.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Everybody looks like they should be good.
I
Is
probably can't do one.
that Bob?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to.
Okay.
And likewise for me, Nancy. The 22nd is not good.
Who's- 22nd is not good. All right, so should we do a special meeting the week before, which is next week, which is my calendar just went away,
15th.
the
It's the
15th.
15th, yeah.
Yeah, 15th works for me.
It
Bob,
also
for you?
works,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm available.
All right, so if we do the 15th, then we may not do the 22nd because we may not need to unless some drastic something comes up and we'll have to do it. Because we could have a quorum without job, but we'd rather have them here for their input. So will the application for payment be reviewed and ready in a week?
Yeah, I'll get it ready, definitely.
Okay. Geraldine, you're good with it too?
Yeah, so, yeah, that's fine. Ken, I need it by Friday to distribute, and then you need to get Joe's signature by Tuesday. So if you think we can do that, then let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because honestly, the finance department might have trouble even cutting a check the week of Christmas, just being upfront.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, they may require things to be, they may run checks on that Tuesday. They may require things to be in the office the day before. So I think it's a better plan to do the special meeting on the 15th. So that's decided.
Okay.
Now we'll do some invoices.
So you mentioned Weston and Sampson. There is an invoice from them for the report preparation.
And that,
And a cost estimate. So I guess the question is, where are those documents?
I saw that and, but so it does say,
Oh, wait, you know what?
is that,
We do have that. I remember the cost estimate.
well, didn't we approve 11,000 or something like that? 11,500?
11,900 for the total cost, right? We had an invoice earlier. Yeah, so here is the report was actually presented last month. So yes, there is the cost estimate. If you
Yes.
recall, it was
Yep.
$53,000 to $68,000 to do the
Right,
work, and then this
Uh-huh.
was their report. We looked at a draft, that's right. John had talked about submitting it in a draft form in case there was anything that that
Yes.
the town or the building committee wanted to change. Otherwise, this was the report that would go up to the state and EPA federally.
That's
So
what,
we have received, okay, so we have received the report and the cost estimate that are included in this invoice.
okay, so then that invoice is, I'm just looking for my copy so I can write on it if I need to. But I can't find it, so we'll just do it. So the remainder of what they had given us for their fee. So I make a motion that we approve Weston and Sampson invoice number 122-00-521 in the amount of $83,000.
I'll second it.
So Gil seconds. Does anybody have?
Did you say 83,000 or 8,300?
Yeah, you said 83,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
Might want to revise that.
that might be a little high. Eight.
So sorry. 8,300.
Yeah.
8,300.
Okay.
Seconded.
So Gil seconds. And all in favor, so no more questions, all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
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 Nobody opposed? Done. And what do we got next?
IES,
Sure.
IES at Johnson for
Sec-
October.
Yep, I make a motion that we approve the invoice from IES, invoice number 15354 in the amount of $1,591.25.
Second.
Dave Olson seconds. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jump in quickly if you're opposed. And IES for Rockwell. I make a motion that we approve the IES invoice number 15353 for Rockwell School in the amount of $1,560.
Second.
And seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Done. Next one.
STL,
Sure. I make a motion that we approve Special Testing Laboratories invoice number 34806. And this is for Johnson School in the amount of $1,141.
Second.
Dave Olson seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. And then we have another special STL, correct?
for
Yeah.
Rockwell, yep.
So Special Testing Laboratories invoice, I make a motion, we approve Special Testing Laboratories invoice number 34807 for Rockwell School in the amount of $1,090.
Second.
Dave Olson seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Done.
TV,
STV. Make a motion that we approve invoice from STV, invoice number 9001893 in the amount of $16,384.
Second.
Dave Olson seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. And the other STV for Rockwell, make a motion that we approve invoice from STV for Rockwell School, invoice number 9001898 in the amount of $8,876.
Second.
Dave Wilson seconds. Thank you, Dave. All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done.
And then we have an invoice from Red Thread. So they are one of the furniture vendors. They have presented an invoice for that totals $5,630. And that is for a number of items that mostly handling and storage, some project delays that they encountered because they were expecting to deliver all the furniture and assemble it in August. So there's a charge for shuttling projects back and forth for the middle school or from the schools at delivery to the middle school more than once. There's some warehouse handling charges for some furniture that was not delivered until last week. And then there are some monthly storage charges for September, October, and November for some products that were stored in their warehouse and not delivered until last Wednesday. This invoice actually started out at a much higher amount, and my associate Rick Davidow went through time sheets and tickets to determine really how much, particularly in this area, how much redelivery work they really had to do in August and September. They knocked off, they were going to charge us for December storage and handling, but we had them deliver the furniture before that. And so we are left with this charge of $5,630, which we believe to be legitimate at this point. And we do not expect, or at least we have not heard from any of the other furniture vendors, that there were going to be additional charges based on an inability to deliver everything on time in August.
Good.
We were under on the furniture quotes, we're under on the move quotes, or on the move budget items. So there is room in the budget to pay this, and I recommend that it be approved.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the red invoice number. Maybe there's no number. Is it for, it's for Jonathan?
Quote numbers,
Yes.
773. Yeah.
Or the quote number 773111. In the amount of $5,630.
Second.
Dave Olson seconds. Thanks for the explanation, Geraldine.
I have one question for Geraldine on this. Do you believe that this would start a, avalanche of other people requesting additional fees for storage?
I don't think so. I know there were some furniture items that we definitely got ahead of and said they weren't going to be delivered until November. And that was the music furniture and the classroom furniture for the health classroom. It's just that these were things that were intended to be delivered. And so, as you can see, some of it is tables. So instead of assembling and delivering tables, they delivered tables and then they which they're not going to assemble, but they were delivered to the middle school instead of the elementary school. I don't think that there's another vendor that's going to have this issue, and we have not heard from either WB Mason or Insalco that they're doing anything outside of their base building, their base purchase order.
Geraldine, it's just a result of COVID measures, since it's all tables that weren't being used.
So the tables are a COVID issue because they're not being installed, but the other items were just a delay in the rooms being ready. Because at the time that we placed these furniture orders, we thought the schools were both going to be fully occupied in September. And instead we've got the whole music rooms, and 3 or 4 like classroom, the sped room and the faculty dining and things like that at Rockwell were pushed into a further phase. And that's what the basis of like the storage and the warehouse handling are from.
And Geraldine, it's okay that it's for both schools, so we don't know which part goes to what.
Yeah, I know, I looked at that after I posted it, probably to get it actually paid and booked the right way for the finance department. I'm gonna need this to be divvied up. But
That would be, they won't know what to go for, how much of it goes to Johnson versus Rockwell. I usually put
exactly.
it in,
But it would make it a little bit easier if the commission could approve the total amount pending invoicing that identifies each school separately, each school project separately.
Okay, then I'll change my motion that we approve the red thread invoice pending specific invoices separated between the two schools.
Because right now I see it's all being booked to a Johnson purchase order number at 2020-16J.
And so that's Johnson, yeah, okay. But they do specify in some places, like the Anna
Right.
Rockwell tables, but then it doesn't say with the delay shuttling which school it goes to. So that ought to get sorted out.
I'll have the invoice come through separately for each school.
Okay. But we're gonna approve it tonight.
I would, if you can, yes, I'd like that.
Okay, so I just changed my motion. Kathy's nodding her head. I need a second.
Second.
Dave's nodding his head. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. So that's it, because Kathy gave me a couple other invoices, which I guess we'll have to do next time.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that came
We're
through
losing you, Nancy.
What's
after
that?
Friday.
There's WB Mason.
I haven't seen that one.
All right, I'll have to get that to you. And National Outdoor Furniture.
Yeah, that one just came through today, so. I
So
spoke
if I
with
leave-
Terry. I spoke with Terry about that one. She said it can wait until the 22nd.
Okay, for the special meeting.
Or yeah, the 15th, yeah.
So if I leave these at the field office for you, would that be good?
I have the one from National Outdoor Furniture, but yeah, if I could get a copy of the WB Mason, or if you can just send me a scan of it,
Okay,
whatever's easier for you. Drop it at the field office or send it electronically.
okay. And then I think those are all the ones I have. I've got others that are, I think they're just old, or we didn't, maybe we already dealt with them. There's Smart Care. Something about an oven.
That
For
doesn't
Rockwell?
sound familiar. For a what for Rockwell?
I don't even know where this came from now that I think about it. There's no, it says Garland MC, that's an oven. I'll scan it and send it to you. Maybe it's a repair or something like that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we had an invoice come through for the high school. They tried to book this job. We sent that back.
Yeah, and I keep
Um,
getting, like, they keep giving me the invoices for the chiller at the,
It must be our project. And I know that there's at least one, there might be two invoices for next time that have to do with cleaning out the sanitary line at Johnson as well. So that'll be coming up next time,
okay,
next meeting.
so I'll scan those and send them to you.
Okay.
Thing else,
Track them down.
Yeah, we still need to somehow have some kind of serious talk, whether it's a subcommittee or whatever, about how extending the schedule is going to impact everyone. So are we going to have some of that discussion at our next meeting next week?
If we can get the schedules and stuff from Geraldine and Jim, I think we could discuss things, but
Yeah.
it might be premature.
Okay, might take a little longer to put everything together is what you're saying?
Well, it sounds like it might take Jim and Geraldine a little bit of time to, get the amounts that we have. And then I think we need a couple of days to digest it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I mean, I think
Anything else?
I'd like to see us talk about it as quickly as possible. Don't get me wrong. So, it's
Yeah,
very
well,
important.
as far as consultant fees go, I would like to at least put a draft together, like the direction that we're looking at. And I think Perkins Eastman ought to be able to do that as well by the end of this week. Doesn't have to be our final proposal, but just a way to start looking at what the impact of the schedule extension will have.
Everyone has to look at that,
Yeah,
including Rizzo, if there's going to be additional sums.
it may be that it will take Ken a little longer to get some numbers from subcontractors. We know what, in what areas we're looking at, but maybe in order to get a real number on there, I don't know if that can be done by Friday or not. But whatever we have, we'll start for the start of the
Yeah.
discussion.
That sounds good.
Okay. So we're good with school stuff right now? We'll have to
Yes.
put it together for special meeting next week, et cetera. So we'll do that. And we can have the special meeting just be on the school project if necessary, unless there's other things that come up that we need to talk about. Okay,
Good.
so don't go away because public site, we have police station stuff to talk about and deal with. Are we looking at schedule? That's where'd
Good
you
night,
guys go?
everybody.
You disappeared.
All right.
Roger.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Good, everyone.
Good night. All right. Everybody else got to stay.
Nancy, does that include me, Gil?
Yeah. Yes. We're gonna
Just wishful
we're gonna
thinking.
have a party. We're gonna have one too. We have a quorum so we can continue. Police station, couple of things. The two things that have come up recently, there was a phone call to Public Works, which Kathy took, and there's the leak in the conference room still happens. And they scheduled to send the roofer out on Saturday because they want to have the roofer go into the attic space while it's raining so they can see if they can track where the water's coming in. And
You gotta wait for rain.
well, but it rained on Saturday a lot.
Oh, okay.
A lot.
So did he
That
get up
was
in the attic?
plan. That was the plan. When they first said the roofer was coming on Saturday, I thought he's not going to get on the roof in the rain. But then I find out after the fact on Monday that the plan was they were supposed to get in the attic space. But for some reason, they couldn't get in the attic space. Something was going on with the PD and something going on, and they couldn't get the guy in the attic space. So that's got to happen another time when it rains.
Not surprised.
Seriously? Ay. It's supposed to rain this coming Saturday, Sunday, Monday,
Yeah,
Yes, 2 days in a row.
yeah.
or we could just have somebody stand there with a hose and spray the roof.
I think it's a little more than that. And then the other thing was the call that Kathy got from the government was that one of the police was they were standing, a couple of them were standing outside talking in the back of the building and just kind of gently leaned on one of the light bollards and it fell over.
Oh.
Like the front of the building last year. So I emailed Ryan, Patrick, and Jeff and said, so when you fix the ones in the front of the building, did you check the ones in the back of the building?
No, of course not.
Of course not. So,
Is he rescheduled to look at the
well-
back?
well, they didn't say they were going to send somebody out yet. And so there are a couple different emails. Ryan had emailed and said, would we at this meeting be taking up their application for payment, which I still have in a folder. I think it should stay in the folder right now.
Yeah, give him an incentive.
Right, because part of the retainage in that application for payment that they then now want to get paid for is a large chunk to earth movers, and earth movers were the ones that installed the sidewalk and the anchors, I think. And I think of chunk to Ferguson, who actually then installed the bollards with these tiny little anchors, which were when it was done a year ago, when all the repairs were done a year ago, we received a schematic kind of from the company showing these, anchor bolts are supposed to be. They're not safety bollards. They're not cement filled bollards. They're light bollards. So they still need to be secured. And they also said some of the other ones in the back are wobbly. So I told Downs all that. And to Ryan asking about whether we would consider the application for payment, I said we will, but it probably won't pass because here's some more outstanding things. My understanding too is that Chris Baldwin has not completed the CO paperwork. I mean, I think he has it completed, but he's not going to issue it, even though they're kind of not code things and not like life safety things, which is what Downs keeps pushing. But he is hesitant to issue the CO because of these new issues that have come up. They're warranty issues they should be taken care of. Downs, Jeff Anderson did say they would take care of the roof, and they're working on this step-by-step process to take care of the roof.
Yeah, that sounds like they're on it.
Yeah. So I'll have to see if I can get an answer about the light bollards and who's going to fix those.
Are we worried about mold and whatnot in the conference room ceiling walls? Has that been yeah.
Yeah, that ought to be checked, definitely. I think it's interesting because it seems to be a slow leak. They thought it was some kind of plumbing thing a while ago. They replaced the ceiling tile and then that little spot showed up again. So, and then there was the police department took it upon themselves to have a different roofer come and look at the roof area above that. And then we got all these pictures of, I think it might be, and this is what, up above there's an exhaust fan, I think, or something along those lines. Now it might not have been flashed properly.
I remember that conversation.
Yes, and the pictures.
Yeah.
So that's where that is. And I don't think I have anything else on the firing range.
So at this point, we're waiting for what?
So on the firing range, we're waiting for actually from the Board of Selectmen and Town Attorney
Oh, okay.
as to what are, because the report has to be issued, et cetera. And there may be further investigation stuff going on.
Yeah. It sounds like that's warranted.
Yeah, yep. So while I owe the Board of Selectmen a report, they kind of owe us one too. And then the municipal center lobby renovation, I don't have anything on that. So, anybody have anything else, questions or comments, or while Kathy smiles and she's, her cat's running around, her dog's running around, I'm not sure.
No, I'm good.
I think we got our work cut out, at the next meeting or even the following one on the schools as far as extending the budgets.
That's gonna be, I kind of hate to say it, but I do think that we're gonna need to come up with some amount for Perkins Eastman, not just for extending it in the next month or two, but to cover some stuff. And
We have to look at all of them, Nancy, and I think, this is a good
Yes, we
time. I think it'll work out fine. I'm actually happier that we put off, I'm not gonna say put off, but we've been continuing to investigate, additional
yes,
billing amounts,
Yeah.
I think that it's much more timely now that we look at the whole situation in total. So,
right. And I think that that I was looking more at STV and not so much IES. I did mention them, but STV and Perkins Eastman,
Yeah,
not so much, just because they're kind of
Well,
the cause of part of it. I know at the police station, Downs tried to charge us a monthly fee when they didn't have everything done by August, when they moved in and, the police department moved in October, and we had to fight with them about it because it was really it was very specifically them. The elevator wasn't ready, and
right.
we had to fight that. But we've got kind of in sort of emailing with Geraldine and asking her about how we figure this out, and she said basically it's kind of a tangled mess in a way that you got to figure out how much of it is additional abatement at Rockwell, scheduling issues between Rizzo and some of the stuff
Right.
that they had for to get answers on with Perkins Eastman. And so yeah,
It sounds
And-
good.
See what,
And some of it's, we throw another monkey wrench in there with the COVID situation. So,
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
any
Yeah.
one of them can point their finger at COVID as causing something. So,
Right, but it's not the complete cause because they were.
no question about it, but there's a lot of wiggle room
But
with
how do you-
everyone here.
Right, and how do you figure out what numbers get assigned to where? That's
Yep.
be a little
Yeah.
messy.
That's why I think it's gonna take us, I'm gonna say some serious time to review this and get a handle on it to where
Yeah.
we wanna direct them to go.
Yeah, I agree. Sounds
like
I
complicated.
I recognize we're gonna have extra money there. There's no question about that. It's just, what's fair.
Right, and we don't want them to say, oh, there's $800,000 left, let's divvy it up among everybody.
That's where I see everyone going. Absolutely what I see.
We're not gonna let them, they've got to be reasonable. about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see everyone chipping at that.
Yep. All right,
Very good. Thank you.
I think that's pretty much it, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Hey,
And
Kathy's-
Wow.
seeing on the 15th.
Yes,
Record
okay.
breaking, Nancy.
Yeah, I know, almost. So I'll see an agenda probably week, and we'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Hey, is there a time we might want to go out and meet at the buildings again? Just do a quick punch list ourselves? Anyone
Sure.
available towards the end
Yeah,
of the week?
I would see if you can get together with Bob and I don't know, if Roy would want to do that. Go ahead,
I'll
I'm
email Bob. But does anyone else?
Right.
I
Right.
think you'll be interested too.
I could go, but I can't do it this week.
Okay.
Definitely do
I'd
it
like,
next-
yeah, you know what? I think we ought to kind of do this. I'd like to see us do it on a weekly basis, just so that we kind of all keep involved on it. And, whether
Yeah.
you could go next week, I can go this week, whatever. So,
Yeah. Yeah, more eyes on it, the better off we are.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that way,
I'll email Bob and I'll just send it to everyone, whoever might want to go, maybe Thursday afternoon sometime.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Then if
It
you,
might be a little tough for me. I'm gonna be in Stamford on Thursday and Friday, but I should be able to get back in time.
Okay, that's, what, after 3 o'clock or so, Dave?
Yeah,
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll just send something out, just kind of keep it loose and we'll see what happens.
beautiful.
Sounds
Right.
good. Good
and
night.
this way, like if John can't go this week, he can go next week and we won't end up with a quorum and that would be a good thing.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Got to have a quorum.
All right.
Sounds
You
good.
can't have a quorum.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody.